Miss Joan, do I have a quorum?
You do.
Yes, you do. Mark sent you everybody in chat. So stating.
All right, so, and is Susan here?
I sure am.
All right, so if we have a quorum and it's 6:02, I would like to call the regular Board of Ed meeting to order. Today it is March 22nd, and once again, it's about 6:02 in the evening. And our first order of business is for the Pledge of Allegiance, and oh, and we have a flag.
Yay.
So very cool. And so I will just start us off since I can't see anyone now. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the
of the United States of America and
and
to the republic
For
for
which
which it stands,
one
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mark, thank you. Very cool. Very cool. That was classy. Thank you. And so the next order of business is the recognition of visitors and delegations. And this really goes to Liz Porter. And I am going to pass that on to you. Just that she had asked me a couple of weeks ago about to recognize a group of people who had done some amazing work around the History Day. And so I would just, Susan, if you don't mind, I'm actually just going to pass this on to Liz and have her introduce. And if you could talk about History Day for a couple of seconds, that would be great.
Hi, everybody. It's very exciting for me because History Day is near and dear to my heart. I've been involved with it for almost 40 years. No, 30 years. Sorry, I'm aging myself. But anyway, you may remember last year when we had the middle school kids actually participated from Cutler, and we had 2 groups go on to states. Well, this year we actually have 3 Fitch High School students that competed at Norwich Regional History Day. But let me just remind you a little bit about what History Day is, and especially for those of you who are listening from the audience. Connecticut History Day is one of 58 affiliate programs of National History Day, a nationally recognized standards-based academic program and competition run annually. This competition is divided into 2 divisions. Junior division is grades 6 through 8, senior division is grades 9 through 12, and 5 categories: paper, exhibit, documentary, web page, and performance. Annually, about 4,000 students in Connecticut alone compete in one of 6 regional competitions, Norwich being one of them. The first, second, and third place winners from each division and category then go on to the state competition, which this year will be held on May 1st. And the top 2 finishers for each division and category then go on to the national competition where they become members of Team Connecticut. Now, of course, last year we had to go virtual for the state competition, and this year all regional and state as well as national competitions are all being held virtually. We're praying that next year will be in person. But like I said, this year 3 Fitch High School students decided to enter Norwich Regional History Day competition after they had completed their research and project construction under the guidance of Ms. Carmita Hodge. The 2021 theme was Communication in History, the Key to Understanding. How appropriate, huh? The students from Fitch researched and developed their entries based on this theme. James Whitloff wrote a paper entitled The Culper Ring, America's first attempt at espionage. And I read that paper, it was well done. But unfortunately, James did not place at the regional competition, but we wanted to recognize his efforts and congratulate him on participating in something that's very challenging. Mary Clark created an original documentary entitled The Anti-War Demonstrations, the key to understanding the protest that shaped a generation. Sorry, Mary. Mary placed third in her category and has earned the right to compete at the state competition. And finally, Jackson Kramer created an exhibit entitled The Hartford Current, Communication from 1764 to 2000. And Jack finished first in his category, which is tough to do because he's one of the tough categories there. They all are, but exhibit seems to be the one everybody gravitates to. And he came off on top, and he too has earned the right to compete at the state competition. So I just wanted to recognize them all. I wanted to recognize this is not a short little thing. This takes hours of preparation, hours of work. And now Mary and Jack are working on improving their entries because they have to enter states. They have to send their new and improved entries to the state by the 15th of April. And I just wanted to tell you, I'm just like so excited for them, and I'm so excited for Ms. Hodge, but also for Fitch High School, because Fitch High School was involved in this in the early 2000s for about 7 years and had great success. And it's nice to see that it's coming back. We're coming back strong, and I'm really proud of them. And I'm hoping that this is just the beginning for Fitch High School, and we're hoping that we get the Groton Middle School back involved. So I just want to say congratulations, kudos to Jack and to Mary. I'm so proud of you. I'm very proud of James too. And good luck. Good luck at States. I'll see you at States.
So Liz, I just got a text from Jay that he's having technical difficulties.
Oh,
So he's not able to get on. And so I will hopefully, once he is on, we can at least say yay, because it's such an honor that he was at least mentioned. But congratulations to the other two. And as always, Ms. Hodge, for bringing out the best in our students and making us all Groton proud. Thank you so much for your work. And Liz, for making sure that the board knew about this, because this is the first time that we really had heard about it or thought about it as a board. So I'm really excited about that.
you're welcome. It will not be the last time, Kim. It will not be the last time.
I am incredibly excited about that. I see that Jay has come in. Jay, good timing. We have just sort of wrapped it up, but we do want to say congratulations to you as a dad, and also congratulations to James for his honorable mention. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. And he sends congratulations to the winners as well. He couldn't be here tonight.
Well, give them our best, will you, Jay? Thank you. Can I ask a technical question before we continue? How do I get out of this? I got just Jay as my focus. I want to be able to see everybody. Can we get out of that? How do we get out of that?
Top right of your computer, there should be where it says gallery. But Mark, I am actually wondering if you put that on so that the speaker would have full glory. And truly, I'm not quite sure people want to see my face that large. I don't like to see my face that large. It's scary.
The control in the upper right only controls the view for each individual.
Right.
So,
I know that. And I'm doing that, but it keeps on switching to speaker. So, but
Kim, Kim, I wonder if we could have the two students introduce themselves, because I'd like to see their faces.
that would be
here.
Thank you.
They're
Andrew.
right here.
yes.
All right.
So Mary, you want to start? There you are.
Hi, I'm Mary. I made a documentary for the contest. Not sure what else I should really say.
Who did you interview? Who did you
Nice to
interview?
see you. Congratulations.
I interviewed a really cool professor from the University of San Diego named Carol Franz, and she talked to me about the protests.
Was this
Very
Connecticut protest, Mary? Was she
It was.
involved?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mary.
And I hope, Mary, that after you get yours, you finish doing whatever you want to do to it. And if you want some help, you know where to call. But maybe we can get it up on the Fitch High School website so that everybody can see the beautiful work. And Jack, that goes for you too. So we can get some things, would like to be able to show other people. So we'll talk about that later. Jack, where are you? Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Good job.
Can you see me? Like,
Yep.
all right, good. My name's Jack. I did a presentation on the Hartford Current, which was a really good topic for the theme of this year's competition. It's a newspaper, so communication is what it does, right? So it's also the oldest newspaper on our continent, actually, even before our country. So going through like the oldest records was really cool, and I think I learned a lot from it.
Good. Excellent. Well, best of luck,
Congratulations, Jack.
all of you. Yes.
Can I ask Jack, has the name changed over the years? Was it the Hartford Current from the early times, or has it evolved, the name?
It has changed. It's the Hartford Current now, and I can't remember when they changed, but at some point it was the Connecticut Current.
Okay.
I think they changed the name sometime in the 19th century, maybe during the Civil War, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, thank you. Looking forward to reading and seeing it.
Yeah, I hope you like it. Thank you.
Good luck, you guys. Good luck.
Actually, what thrills me is that to have students be on our Zoom with us, it's been a year. And so it's so nice to be able to have that and to remind us all sort of why we do what we do. So thank you, the two of you, for spending some time with us. And once again, Jay, please send our best and congratulations to your son on the work that he did as well. But thank you.
So well done, Carmita.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Carmita.
As always. So Susan,
Yes.
I opened up my packet over the
Yeah.
weekend,
Did you find a couple little favors?
and I saw some stuff in my packet, and so I don't know if you would like.
I would love to honor you with this. We were looking at our list and we realized that not only were we going to be honoring our paraprofessionals and our administrative assistants, but it's also Board of Education Month. And so we decided, Joyce and I decided, a nice certificate with each of your names. So honoring our wonderful board members, Liz and Kim and Lee and Jay and Rita and Jane and Dr. Andrea Ackerman and Rosemary and Dean, because as the little pin says, it's teamwork. Together, everyone achieves. And we thank you for your dedication and commitment to Groton, to the board, to our students, and to education, and your tireless advocacy on behalf of our children. You always put them first. I've told you this over and over. And so I'm so happy to be part of your team and leading this fine district with your support. So thank you very much, and we honor you, and you can wear your team pin. We actually give the team pin to all of our new teachers when they've accomplished the team, which is the work that they do in becoming, a certified teacher, and, the help and support they get as brand new teachers. So that together, everything, everyone makes a difference is really meaningful. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I know that that Mary and Jax, you would love to stay, and Carmita, that you would love to stay for the whole board meeting, but you do not have to, and you're more than welcome to leave at this point. But you're more than welcome to also stay and hear some of my very corny jokes if you would like to. But with that said, we're going to move us on to the comments from citizens, and I'm just going to read the blurb that we get. This is the portion of the agenda where the board welcomes comments from citizens. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or less, and citizens should, if possible, submit written comments. Presentation should be related to matters pertinent to Groton. Board members will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentation and cannot respond during the comments of citizens portion of the board meeting. Citizens should state their name and addresses for the record. Miss Joan? Do we have
I
anyone?
have no one, Kim. I have no one.
Okay.
I'm looking
there
at the
any-
chat box. There's nothing there.
Yeah, same with me. Is there anyone that's a participant that is here that would like to speak to the board? Because this would actually be the part of our meeting where we actually have citizens petition. Wow, it's Monday and I'm having a hard time talking. Okay, I am not hearing or seeing any. With that, I'm going to move us on to student representative report. And did Zay make it on? I was told that he might try.
I don't see him, but Allison did send a brief from the two of them, so.
And I do have that. So
Okay.
what I'm going to do, folks, is I will read, because Susan did reach out with Ted to our two student representatives just to tell them that we miss them. And that even though that we're doing it by Zoom, if they could come back and join us, that would be great. Neither one of them were able to join us, but they did send a little blurb. And so I'm just going to read that. And Joan, do you have that? If not, I will make sure that it gets sent to you.
Oh, ma'am, I do not.
Okay, then I will be more than happy to forward that to you.
Thank you.
So hello, this is from Allison, and then it says, hello, so far I have heard really good things about the sports coming back, like cheerleading and basketball. I think people are really enjoying being able to finally feel like we're maybe getting back to normal. And I think everyone is very grateful to be back with their teams and their friends. Also, I've heard from a few fellow students that are full distance that they are really considering coming back to the 4 days if we go back almost full time. At this point, I think everyone is missing being normal at school, and I think it would be awesome to get everyone back together and be as normal and as safe as possible. And that's with a smiley face at the end.
Well said from our
All right.
students. Well
All
done.
right. Okay, so Susan, I'm going to now move that to your report, please.
Okay. Well, tonight, Tom Lonsdale joins me, and I guess it's our first official time to introduce Tom. He is our new student data manager, but I can't even call him new anymore because he hit the ground running. I mean, from the first week where we were analyzing some data and he was knee deep into it and knew there were some challenges at the middle school with scheduling and other things. So he went over there and he's met all the principals. I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell you a little bit about his journey in education. And then he's got a presentation for you about assessment and the interconnectedness of assessment and instruction and why it's so valuable. So off you go, Tom.
Thanks, Susan.
Welcome.
Can you guys, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me? Awesome. So I just want to say before I start, I have a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old, so I apologize if there's some background noise at any point. And I did also want to say, I'm the kind of person, please feel free to interrupt at any time. Please don't feel like you need to wait till the end of my presentation. I'd love to have dialogue in the middle of this. So if you have any questions, please let me know. As Susan said, I'm Tom Lonsdale. I'm the student data manager. I come to Groton by way of East Hartford professionally. I was a science teacher in an IB school for 7 years, and I absolutely loved it. It's been one of my greatest challenges to leave the classroom, but I will say Susan made one heck of a sales pitch for Groton to pull me down here. And she's not kidding when she said, you know, I'm in it knee deep. I told Susan, you know, my first day, I said, please, Susan, expose me to everything. And I said, you know, I think the greatest thing East Hartford did for me was just give me a kind of a wealth of experiences that I get to bring professionally. And Susan's really kind of pushed me off the diving board straight into the pool, which I think has been a good thing. And, you know, not only working with data, but now helping out with the technology department, I've gotten a lot of exposure to a lot of things in Groton, which I know is going to help me professionally, but I also hope that my experiences are going to be really valuable to Groton going forward. So I just have a little bit to share with you tonight. We are deviating a little bit from the agenda, so I do just want to mention that. We had hoped to talk about some F&P data tonight, but unfortunately we cut it a little too close with the trimester 2 ending. So we're not quite ready to talk about that. And I'd love to come back at a future meeting and discuss that. And as Susan said, this is really just an introduction, talking about data in general and talking about how it's interconnected to instruction. So I'd love to share that with you now. But as I said, please feel free. I'd love questions as we go along. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Can someone just give me a quick thumbs up to tell me they can see it? Awesome. All right. I think Miss Porter won the prize for fastest thumb up. So that was awesome. All right. So, you know, the question I think everybody kind of starts with is, you know, why even assess during a pandemic, right? We have so much going on. Our students have a lot of stresses right now, and we totally acknowledge that. But I also want to make clear that I believe, and I know Susan believes, that assessment's extremely important at this time. And the reason for that is we need to establish a baseline of where our students are at and what they've learned and also what they're missing. And that's how we're going to be able to inform our actions going forward. So I think that's a really important place for us to start. I did just want to provide a brief overview of where the state of Connecticut stands on testing right now. So as you guys know, we have benchmark assessments that are mandated by the state, both the Smarter Balance assessments and the Next Generation Science assessments. And the state is fully committed to administering those assessments this year and requiring that of all schools. And their reasoning for it's pretty straightforward. They, just like us, they want to monitor the long-term trends, and they really want to see the impact of this pandemic on students. And I agree with that. I think that's extremely important. And lastly, they want to be able to target support and resources based on that data. So we're going to talk about in a second, you know, the goal of the state is not to hold districts accountable this year. That's not what it's about. It's really about understanding what this pandemic has done to our students and also setting us up for success, supporting them going forward. So the state Department of Education has applied to the federal government for a waiver. But I want to be clear that waiver is not a waiver to try to opt out of testing. The state really is committed to testing. It's just we're waiving the accountability aspect that comes with that testing. So this waiver is still pending. As of right now, technically speaking, the state testing that we'd be doing at the end of this year would be for accountability. But as I'm sure you know, our former state commissioner who applied for this waiver is now the head of the U.S. Department of Education. So I fully expect that this waiver will be accepted. And that waiver that Miguel Cardona had originally submitted, it asked for us to waive the summative rating. So basically that accountability index that comes with state testing. They don't intend to sort schools into different categories this year, identify new turnaround schools or focus area schools. They're also hoping to waive the 95% participation rate. So while we fully intend to test every student humanly possible, the state didn't feel it was appropriate to penalize districts this year if they couldn't get every student in to test. So that is what they're looking to do going forward. As I said, it's still pending, but I fully anticipate that it's going to go through. The other key thing that I want to start with today is balance. And like I said in the beginning, you know, I think a lot of people question, you know, why assessment in the middle of a pandemic? There's certainly, you know, many competing needs. And I do agree that while assessment's important, we need to find balance between, you know, too little assessment and too much assessment. With that in mind, you know, our real focus here is prioritizing that instructional time in the classroom. I know that has to be priority. There hasn't been enough of it this year. I think we all acknowledge that. And you know, our job number one is getting kids back in the classroom. It's not just throwing assessments at them. But when we do assess, we want to be really cognizant of the fact that we are selecting the highest leverage assessments that we can. And I'll talk about more about what that means in a little bit. But, you know, kind of our next step from that is if we're going to give assessments, we really need to use that data to inform instruction. It can't just be data that we're going to collect in a spreadsheet and look at all together. It has to be actionable and it has to have a positive effect on our kids.
Can I just stop right now, Tom,
Yeah.
and just say that we're going to be sending a letter out to families discussing the testing. The testing won't happen until May and June, so we've really held off on it. But we have been utilizing these interim assessments, which Tom will talk to you about. And we've been bringing students who are full remote in on Wednesdays to do some of these assessments. And parents have been wonderful about bringing them in. Some of the students have been in and seen their classroom and wanted to come back. So it's really worked in several positive ways. So we want to continue that. And as you know, we're going to go to the 4.5 days starting in May. And we're going to continue to utilize Wednesday as a day where we can get more of this assessment done, not to interrupt some of the instructional parts of the week. And to also do some celebrating with kids and end year kind of fun activities. So we're really looking forward to that. And so, but that's part of what Tom is talking about with the balance. You know, we have to keep in mind that our kids are looking forward to this. We're looking forward to having them. And we have to keep in mind about balance. So thank you, Tom.
Absolutely. Sorry, I have to keep moving around everybody because it's blocking the each of the slides. So, you know, the first thing I wanted to talk about was prioritizing instructional time. Groton Public Schools, we participated in a pilot this year as one of the pilot districts for the state administering the Smarter Balance interim assessments remotely. So, you know, never before have we been able to administer these type of assessments remotely, but the state of Connecticut kind of upgraded their portal, which let you be a remote proctor. So, you know, the students, it was kind of a two-way system where we could see the student taking the test and communicate back and forth within the testing portal, which was excellent because if a student had a question while they're taking the assessment, they could talk to their teacher or message their teacher right in there, get their questions answered, and go right back to taking that assessment. And it was great because, you know, you might have 20 students taking it at once, but I could talk privately with each student kind of on a rotating basis and check in with them, and every student could take the test, which I thought was a great thing that the state utilized this year. And I think it's something the state's going to utilize going forward because it was a great addition kind of to our toolkit. As students said, you know, we're planning on, but we've already started utilizing Wednesdays to administer assessments online and in person. So Susan had kind of mentioned it, but to go into a little more detail, especially for our remote learners who weren't comfortable coming in back either to a 2-day-a-week hybrid or a 4-day-a-week in person, we are going to have the opportunities on Wednesdays for them to come in and test in person. So we really believe, especially when we're talking about the summative assessments, that it's crucially important for students to have a great testing environment. And we feel the best way to ensure that is for them to be in the buildings. So we're going to offer Wednesdays to those students to come in and to get that done. And we think that's the best use of that Wednesday time. You know, not taking away some of those other instructional times on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. But also, you know, in the past couple months, teachers have been using Wednesdays to administer those interim assessments as well, which has been great. And I also want to be clear, you know, besides the summative assessments, the big state benchmarks assessments, the vast majority of these assessments are very quick. So they average 10 to 15 questions. They usually take 15 to 30 minutes. There are times where they've taken longer, and we've definitely gotten feedback about that if people have learned the kind of the system and how to set it up and administer the tests. But, you know, the more we practice, the better we're going to get at it. And I think that's one of the greatest strengths of utilizing this system is that we've now practiced the portal time and time again, and students and teachers are familiar with it. So when it is time for us to take the summative benchmark assessments, we'll really be familiar with it and everybody will be ready to go. I also want to talk about selecting high leverage assessments. So we really want to focus on those assessments that are really closely aligned to our state standards and those required benchmark assessments, those SBAC and those NGSS ones. We also want to ensure that there's grade level alignment. So, you know, at the middle school and the high school, that's a little easier, only a couple buildings, but at the elementary level, we have a lot of different buildings. So we want to ensure that there's alignment across all those buildings so that we can really sit down and analyze together the student strengths and weaknesses. And we also want to ensure that the IABs we choose, because there's many of them, are the ones that are really measuring our critical grade level content. And then lastly, we want to make sure that we're choosing assessments that can be administered kind of regardless of what learning model that we have to be in. So I think this year, one of the things that I really learned this year is flexibility and the need to have systems that are really flexible, whether you're remote, whether you're hybrid, or whether you're in person. And I think our decision to really prioritize these interim assessments through the SBAC portal, it was a great step in that direction because they can be administered in all phases simultaneously. You could have some students remote, some students in person, and they could both be taking the same assessment at the same time for you as a teacher, which I think is really critical. So I just want to actually show you a couple examples of what the questions look like for these interim assessment blocks. So this example is from a grade 4 test, read literacy text. And I'll just give everyone a second to just kind of look at this question really briefly. All right, so as you can see, this question is really about word meaning, the word conserve, right? And this was a question that our 4th graders actually did exceptionally well on. So this was one of their top questions that the vast majority of them answered correctly. And if you use context clues, which hopefully they did, they'd understand that the word conserve in this context means to save. So they would have selected C. I'm going to show you a math example now, a little bit harder.
But very typical for 7th grade math.
Absolutely.
You'll love the financing. We do a lot of financial literacy in middle school mathematics.
Susan told me I had to stump you, so I had to put a hard question on here. But we're actually, we're going to turn this on her. She's going to have to answer this one off the top of her head without pen and paper or calculator. So this question was actually a 7th grade question. As you'd expect, this is a high level of difficulty. They're not that the majority of students got this one wrong, but a lot of students did answer this one incorrectly. And it is a multi-step problem. It's not surprising. It is a pretty high level of difficulty. The next piece, the third thing I want to talk about is just what we're going to do with that data. And we'll look at a little bit of data in a second, but it's really crucial that if we are going to assess students that we're using it to drive our instruction, right? And part of my, a big component of my role is really ensuring access to high quality assessment results. So, data isn't great if you get it 3 weeks after you give it to kids or 2 months after you give it to kids. It's really hard to act upon that. So one piece of my role is really making sure that teachers have access to that data in as timely a manner as humanly possible. And we'll talk about how that can get done in a second. I also want to make sure that we're empowering teachers with resources based on that data. So if a teacher gets data, positive or negative, we want to make sure that teachers have resources to be able to act upon that data and support their kids. And then lastly, sorry, my son is meowing in the background. I'm not sure if you can hear that. And then lastly, we want to provide differentiated instruction for students based on whatever that data is. So let's look at, this is a very, targeted piece of data, but just something for us to look at together. So, we don't have a ton of examples from the fall where we're able to kind of 1-for-1 match to an example of something that also happened in the fall of 2019. But this is an example of what we do. So this is going back to that grade 4 question that we looked at before. This is data from that actual test. So this is comparing, obviously this is not a cohort, this is a different group of kids in 4th grade this year. This is comparing the breakdown of the 4th graders last year to the 4th graders this year in the fall.
And while you see some more of the red area, everything else is pretty par for the course. So, when we were really concerned about kids coming back in the fall, we noticed that, or a lot of the literacy coaches were saying it wasn't so much different than the summer slide. We usually take a little dip in the fall, we regain. But of course, we're going to be measuring out using these various assessments throughout the year as well.
Yeah, and I also say that, the data we're seeing, at least the initial data we're seeing, really does kind of correlate to the national data that's coming out through NWEA. So NWEA gave the MAP test, which you actually used to use in Groton, which is similar to an SBAC type test. And they gave it to a couple 100,000 students. And the slide was really I would say marginal. So there was a slide, like Susan's saying, similar to a summer slide in reading, but it wasn't as catastrophic as I think the initial fears were. Students performed better than what any of the projections were. And that kind of goes to this. So a small slide, but nothing major. So, once looking at data once looking at data like this, I think the next question is, so now what? What do we do with this data? And that's what I want to talk about now. So if I'm a teacher or leading a data team and I'm looking at data like this, I look at especially this below standard group and I say, well, it's increased, but why is it increased? And the way that we can analyze that is to do item analysis. So we can look at specific questions that students struggled on and try to determine why. So here is a question that those students struggled on. And I'm just going to give everyone a moment to look at this question and then talk about together why might they have struggled on this.
I'm going to ask the board, why do you think they might struggle on this one? So I'm going to turn around the question to you all. What do you think's a little different in this kind of question than the questions we might have received as kids that might cause kids to struggle a little? I can't see if any hands are raised.
I actually can't either. So you're welcome to just talk out if you have something you'd like to add. We'd love that.
Well, normally don't kids just go for one choice?
Yep.
Bingo.
Okay. So that's, and it says, it's very bold, most likely and two, but in the presence of a test situation or, these assessments, they get scared, they get nervous, and they one and done.
Yeah. And that's why this practice with these IABs is so essential, because had they not practiced, the teacher might not have picked up on it. But most of our kids got at least one of the answers right, but they didn't get the two. So that's good information to have, right? Prior to the summative.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I will say, so just to give some context, the SBAC portal, it's not the type of test that'll stop you and say, oh, you only answered one. It will just let you go forward, even if you did it. And it doesn't award partial credit. So just because you got one of the two right, you don't get any credit. It's all or nothing. So, doing a deeper dive into this question, although we had a lot of students who answered it incorrectly, but almost universally, the students got one of them right. And the real kind of breakdown was the fact that they just didn't read the directions carefully, unfortunately, and they only chose one of the options.
Yeah, the teacher's biggest nightmare, right? Read the directions.
Absolutely. And I think, something like this only compounds when a student's taking it remotely. And I think that kind of drives home the importance that I talked about earlier of having that as good of a testing environment as possible. And we understand that may not have been something that was possible, when students were remote and they were at home. And, like my house right now, where I have a 2-year-old running around outside the door, it makes it difficult to be able to take a test to the best of your ability. So I think that's why we're really pushing to hopefully get as many students back in the classroom as possible by the time they take these assessments, because we really want to see what they know. We don't want there to be any bias based on their whatever environment they happen to be testing in that day. But, let's kind of look at the other side of the coin. If there was a situation where the teacher realized, it really wasn't the test type or test question type, it was the content, and they were missing something with the content, what could the teacher do in that situation? We want the teacher to be able to see that data and act upon it. And they have some really great tools at their disposal to be able to act upon that data. And one of those is the system called, Smarter Tools for Teachers, that's built directly into the assessment portal itself. So I can't take you into the assessment portal itself just because it's password protected, but right within that, so if a teacher opened up that portal and saw, oh, my student struggled on that question, there's a link that will take them to a whole kind of, collection of resources that have lesson plans, presentations, practice activities, different formative assessments that they can use to help their students. And I'm going to attempt to show you an example of that, but I'm going to have to change what I'm sharing. So hold on one second.
We noticed that one of those tools is the Newsella program, which we've had in Groton for several years, and it provides a lexile on the students' reading. So it gives you many different examples on a content area in different readabilities. So it's open access for all kids.
You're jumping the gun on my presentation there, Susan.
Sorry.
So I hope that you guys can see this. So this is an example of what teachers have access to. So like I said before, if they see that students aren't doing well on a question, and maybe this question's about determining an author's message or the main idea, this kind of has an entire outline of exactly what the teacher could do for really a whole sequence of lessons. There's no way they could do this in one day, but they can pick and choose what they'd like to do, or they could use the entire thing. But I want to be clear, we're not asking teachers to have to reinvent the wheel. We're providing them with really kind of complete resources to be able to work with students to make up any of their weaknesses that we identify through this assessment.
So one of the things that Tom and I talked about was providing more professional learning for our teachers so that they all know what resources. And I'm thinking to myself out loud, it would be great that I think parents would love a forum on the assessment and what do the questions look like, and how we're getting the kids ready. So there's a couple ideas that we have for so what, now what, how do we get them ready and prepare?
Absolutely. So Susan jumped the gun on my Newsella, but the other thing that we want to make sure that we're doing is providing differentiated instruction for students. And one of the great tools that we have in the district is something called Newsella. I'm showing you an example here. Newsella also happens to connect perfectly to our Lucy Calkins Teachers College Readers and Writers Workshop program. And in this case, grade 4. But if a teacher decides that students need support in a particular unit of study, they can go in and they have a whole host of related articles right within there. But beyond that, and being able to differentiate, the really powerful thing about Newsella and why everyone really loves the program is its ability to change lexiles for the same article. So you'll see here, there's 5 options of reading level for that one article that a teacher can select. So this 4th grade teacher could do everything from a 3rd grade reading level all the way up to, I believe, a 9th grade reading level, and really differentiate for her learners or his learners. And I think that's a really powerful tool to really meet kids where they are. And that's going to be crucial as we help kids make up the gap going forward. The other great tool that we have, the question that we were looking at before was all about word meanings. Newsella has power words, which is basically a vocabulary program built into it that really pulls important words for students to be able to learn, and it tracks their use of that word over time. And that's all built into the portal that we've already provided for them, and it's a great resource going forward. And as Susan said, I think one of the things we want to do is just make sure teachers are aware of all these resources and utilize them to the full capacity going forward. Lastly, I just want to talk about kind of my work going forward and our school and district data teams. One of our real focuses going forward will be completing these type of data dives on individual assessment results. So especially as we give these assessments over the next few months, and when we have assessment results from our summative assessments over the summer, we really intend to meet with both district leaders and teachers at this building level and really do deep data dives, not only teaching them some of the techniques, but also, kind of the now what, as Susan said. So we have this data, what do we do with it? What tools and resources do we have at our disposal to help kids? We also want to use this data to identify commonalities and themes across classrooms and grade levels. So we know we're going to identify common areas of weakness and strength in students, depending on how remote learning affected them. But we can use that and leverage that to work together across grade levels and across buildings to really meet kids where they are and figure out ways to help them going forward. So the now what for me, I feel like is really exciting. I think we all know the so what. I think we know that this year has been difficult. I think there's really no way around that. But I think the now what is us kind of coming together and leveraging our, our resources to help kids going forward, whether it be, the rest of this year, the summer, and the fall as well. But I'm happy to take any questions. I know maybe Susan will want to add some now what's as well. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, Tom.
Tom, what a great way of introducing yourself to us, and being able to kind of give us a primer of how we should be thinking about data being presented to the board moving forward. But a great melding of both the introduction of you and then also kind of walking us through, for those of us who are not in the education world, to kind of do that has been incredibly helpful. So thank you very much. And belatedly welcome to Groton.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Terrific.
Did we have anybody with a question?
Jane, you are muted. You are muted, Jane.
Tom, you have to know I have a barking dog. She comes alive whenever I'm at the computer, so please excuse this. Just welcome aboard. You're just bringing new life, new energy, and I was riveted as a former reading writing teacher, riveted to what you were saying. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Tom. I know you have little ones you probably have to tuck in. So.
The bedtime routine has begun, so I appreciate it.
I know.
I just want to say to the board again, thank you. And please feel free, if you have any questions, data or otherwise, please feel free, always reach out. I'm happy to talk. Don't be strangers. Please be involved. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
All right. So we're going to move on to Mr. Knight.
Hello. So I am going to talk about the object code summary, which is attachment number 1. And if you notice in the bottom right-hand corner, it shows that we're projecting end of year unexpended balance of 285,122, similar to prior months. It's being driven by some being under budget in salaries due to a few different factors, including some subs being picked up by the CARES and CRF, hiring teachers slightly lower than budgeted, and the transfer of those 2.5 FTEs to MSAP. Offset by some over budget in other benefits, which is driven by additional tuition costs and unemployment and retirement. We're also under budget in our out-of-district tuitions, both special education as well as regular education, but then over budget in supplies to better put us in a better position for next year, and then equipment due to the purchase of that skid steer equipment at the Groton Middle School to help with our snow removal. So that's where we are with our object code summary.
Do we have any comments about that from the board?
I have a quick question for Ken, if that's okay. It's late. Ken, I'm on a forum for Groton, as I think many of us are. Someone mentioned that she got a check from the Groton Board of Education that was tuition. I never heard another thing. I don't know the person who sent it. Have you heard anything about that?
No. So if it was a check from the Groton Board of Education, that would be us. We would be issuing a check. I'm not too sure. Yeah. Directly to a person for tuition.
To a person whose name I didn't recognize. I never heard another person say, "Oh, this is why." I just wanted to know if we did that. I don't think we did.
No. So if there was one of our teachers that is taking classes, we do a tuition reimbursement program. Could that be it?
I don't think so. I think it was a parent. So because no one mentioned it, whatever it is doesn't make any difference. I thought it was odd.
Yeah.
But whoever knows on Facebook or on the internet. But thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Lee. Any other questions about the object code? All right, hearing none, you can continue on with your insurance report.
So the health insurance report, that's attachment number 2. This is through January of 2021. And it shows that for the month of January, we're actually at 73.5% of budget, which is bucking the trend. We had been increasing steadily from 80% in October to 83 in November, 93 in December, but looks like January we took a step back. It could be due to the surge of COVID cases that happened during that time. But we fully expect that this will go back up to meeting and actually exceeding budget for at least some of the months of the remainder of the year, as we anticipate all the postponed visits and procedures to come crashing in at some point. But at this point, we are 75% of budget on a year-to-date basis.
Any questions? Dean?
Yeah, thanks. I know we've seen these before, and it's just occurred to me for the under the BOE monthly budget. We have the same amount parceled out for every month.
Yeah.
Do we always do that, or do we ever tinker with it to reflect the reality of how we typically get hit month by month?
It's true that these claims do come in. There is a seasonality to it, and it probably could be graphed out. But we do typically take just the amount divided by 12 and put it on the piece of paper for ease of understanding it. But we probably could do it. We could do a better job of applying the seasonality to it. I'm not too sure it would have helped us much for this particular year, just because
No, not at all.
not really
Right.
following any particular schedule. But your point is taken.
I guess what would be more useful, and maybe this is more work on everybody's part, is a column that would be another column that would compare this with the year before. Although granted, last year was a very strange year, but a year-to-year comparison would be better, especially given since the even amounts every month is a rather artificial way to look at it, the easiest way to look at it. I do the same thing, and when I do cash flow, but so as you go from 45% to 87% to 62%, it's as it is. It's a rather artificial. They're rather artificial. So to go from month to month and say, well, look, we've gone up, we've gone down. More important to me is what's typical for that month.
Sure.
I think you had a chart like that, Ken, where you showed last year and when it went above on the different months, and it was more typical that it would break even or maybe go a little above, a little less. But this has been pretty trendy to be underneath the monthly expectation.
Right. Yeah, but we do have
probably have that from last year, so you can kind of look at that. That's interesting.
Yeah, we definitely have that information, and we could chart that in here if it provides any additional information that anybody would want to see. So we can do that.
Yeah, like say this is a column based on like sort of a 5-year average, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions about the health insurance report? And as always, thank you. Mr. Kilpatrick.
Good evening. So I too would like to thank the board on behalf of the departments that I work with. I know that all of the employees certainly appreciate all the things that you've supported us in, especially this year. And so thank you once again. I did want to go off topic just a little bit before I get to the items that are listed on the agenda and let you know that there are some things going on in food services that you hopefully you can share with the public and so on. The community eligibility provision, CEP, has been approved through September, and I was told September 31st, but I think there's only 30 days in September. So it must be till October 1st, but of 2021. And we suspect that Ernie's smirking because he's the one who told me the 31st, but We suspect that it will continue on at least through December once they get to that point, but there's no guarantee of that, but we suspect that that will happen. So right now it's been approved through September 30th of 2021. Also coming up again on Wednesday, the 31st of this month, farm to community food boxes again at Washington Park. This time it will be from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So it'll be a 3-hour time frame on March 31st, and that's for any member of the community. It's not the kids' food bags, but these are boxes for the community of 30 pounds or so that Jay was throwing around the last time. So it was a good workout, and everybody had a good time. So if you'd like to join us again, I think we are pretty well assured that it will not be snowing like it did the last time.
I was just going to ask you that, Sam.
And I'm hoping Lee shows up with the donuts again.
You can count on it.
And of course, you have the healthy food certification coming up later in the meeting. So moving on to the next item is the elementary schools that are being built. Both Thames River and Mystic River magnet schools are running on schedule presently. Thames River is about 2 weeks behind. They're working to catch up as we move along. They're scheduled to be substantially completed on June 30th. A substantial completion doesn't mean that it's completely ready for move-in, but it means that most of the work is done. And at that point, if we get approval from the fire marshal, we could actually start moving things into the building. So the FF&E, or furniture, fixtures, and equipment has been approved by the state. So we're moving forward with that. We're a little bit ahead of schedule on that. And the other item is the move management project that's going on. Tom Beebe, who is the move manager for Arcadis, has been holding bi-weekly meetings. And so we're a little ahead of schedule, but this will give teachers an opportunity to start to prep for the big move. There have been boxes delivered to the schools already. There are containers sent to the school, or they will be sent during vacation week for confidential items. And there is big boxes that'll be in each hallway. They're like 4x2 boxes where anything that they want to throw out can go into those boxes, and the custodians will move those out. So they're on wheels for us, so the custodians can roll those down the hallway. So he has been encouraging everybody to move forward with purging as the weeks go on here. So principals have been on the meetings. Susan's been on the meetings. We've had good attendance at those meetings with Tom Beebe, and things are going well there.
And we got our packing video done, and I did a little of Marie Kondo. Just saying, I gave it gratitude when we have to give it up. We need to purge. I did my military story. Can't go overweight. So between Tom and I, we did our thing so teachers would understand the packing process.
Can we fine them if they go overweight, Susan? I don't know.
Huh? Yeah, well, that's what used to happen to us in the Navy.
Right. And the last item that I'd like to report on tonight are air filters and indoor air quality in the schools. As you know, we installed MERV 11 filters in our air conditioning and equipment, HVAC equipment just before the beginning of school back in August. A recommendation from the state was to go to MERV 13s, but or to the level of filter that your equipment can handle. Ours can handle the MERV 11s. They normally take a MERV 8, and consider that a MERV 8 is a more porous filter, where a MERV 11 is much more dense, so it filters out more things out of the air as it continues to send the air into the building. So we've continued to do that, and during vacation week, we are planning to change all the filters throughout the district on that week. So we'll have new filters for the spring. The other thing that we did with the recommendation from Fuss and O'Neill was to start our HVAC systems earlier in the morning, 2 hours earlier. So we're starting those at 4 o'clock in the morning rather than 6 o'clock. And this actually pumps more fresh air. It kind of washes the air before school, and we leave it on for 2 hours after the school is closed in the evening, after the custodians are gone in the evening. So they're running for quite a while during the day. And we've also increased the amount of fresh air that are coming into all the buildings. So that again was a recommendation from Fuss and O'Neill. The other item that Fuss and O'Neill mentioned in their report, we had actually been doing right from the beginning back in March of last year. And that was, we flush the water systems in all of our buildings twice a week now because we have less kids in the buildings, we're using less water. But between concerns about lead in some of the older buildings being in the water, and also Legionnaire's disease has a tendency to build up in stagnant water. So we've been doing that actually before we even got Fuss and O'Neill in, and our custodians do that twice a week. They do it on Mondays or the first day of the week after a long weekend, and also on Wednesdays. So we'll continue to do that until we all get back to normal status. And that's my report for tonight. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
Jay.
So, Mr. Kilpatrick, for those of us who are not technically as up to speed, is there a way to compare the efficiency of the MERV 11 to HEPA? In other words,
Well,
80%, 90%? Do we have any idea?
I'd have to look up the exact percentage, but HEPA filter is even more dense and would filter out even more, but our equipment couldn't handle that.
Right.
HEPA filter is even more dense than the MERV 13. So,
okay.
And it's not exactly incremental. So that 13 is not just 5 steps higher than an 8, or but our equipment can handle the 11, and that's we've continued to monitor that on a daily basis. So,
okay, thank you.
Rita, you are.
Yes, Sam. Will our new schools have the HEPA filters?
No, I don't believe so. But for instance, Groton Middle School has, in most of their equipment, actually have 2 layers of filters. They have MERV 8s, with the air comes through first, and then MERV 13. So it takes out the heavier particles in the MERV 8s, and then it passes through a 13 before it goes into the building. So I suspect that the 2 new buildings will have similar equipment to that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Sam, as always, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to move us to the committee reports. The first one would be Lee. But Lee, you're on mute, so it's hard to hear you.
I'm so sorry. We did meet. It was actually the shortest meeting we've ever had. There were no questions about the first reading, the one we're going to do the second reading in probably about 20 minutes. And we will get back to normal, hopefully on April, and maybe even together. Maybe.
So any questions for Lee? If not, I'm going to move it over to Jane.
Yep, the curriculum committee met on March 15th. Am I on mute? No.
No, you're great. Thank you.
The area of concern and the topic was the fact that nationally, 66% of high school grads are enrolling in college, but 34% are graduating. The concern is that our youth across the country are disconnected. Employers are citing poor work habits, attitudes, lack of preparation for the workplace. Once again, the teachers at Fitch are digging in to address this problem and better prepare their students in the program called Grow Our Own. This includes getting news to the kids, expanding the IB program, developing strategies. Students are exploring career clusters through Naviance, including in topics such as banking and management. Students will in the future be able to include IB courses and clusters over 4 years. They can change their pathway but must complete a cluster. In 2020, 41 students did complete the cluster classes. And I don't know more about cluster classes, so I'll be bringing back more information at the next meeting. Career development will include awareness, exploration, application, career management, and entrepreneurship. Pathway initiatives will be designed to improve graduation rate and, more importantly, or just as important, post-graduation excuse me, success. This is a work in progress, and everyone's very enthusiastic and taking it very seriously. So a major move forward at the high school. Congratulations to their efforts.
Thank you, Jane. Finance and facilities. Oh,
I'm sorry,
sorry.
Kim,
Wait.
I had a quick question for Jane.
Sure.
Jane, that graduation rate that you cited, the 30 some odd % from college, is that graduation rate period or graduation within 4 years?
It probably is within 4 years. I don't know. I didn't get that statistic, whether it's at all or within 4 years.
Yeah, because I know a lot of schools keep track of how many students, accepting 5- and 6-year programs, the typical 4-year program. They keep stats on how many finish within the 4 years,
right,
and how many take longer than 4 years.
Yeah, I think
and how many just don't graduate at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I think partly one important thought that's coming from this is the lackluster kind of approach to life, the ho-hum, I don't know what I'm doing, and no paths forward that these kids build for themselves.
And I think one of the things, if I can add, Jane, is that I feel like Groton has some exciting things happen with offering 5 different magnet opportunities at the elementary level, starting to talk about careers and what people do in the real world and how they use their math skills, their science skills. And then looking at the schedule that we're providing for our middle school and all the different opportunities, the pathways in STEM and arts, and then, having that continue at the high school with these different career pathways. So, but really, I think getting the information to kids early on, so that they have something, they can kind of really nurture their passions and the things they're good at. And so that parents don't send kids to 4 years of college and the kids saying at the end of 4 years, well, I really don't know what I want to do. So we're hoping we can, we can help them start thinking about that a little earlier on as they go forth and decide whether they want to do a trade, whether they want to do college, and what are those things that they're looking to learn postgraduate.
Thank you. So Jay.
Yes, so finance and facilities met on March 1st. We reviewed the regulation 1330 use of facilities to bring that up to date, including not charging for the middle school turf field because that was paid by the bond. We reviewed the fee proposal for the Fitch High School Fieldhouse. That's going to be passed on to Parks and Rec because the Athletic Fields Task Force is going to make a CIP proposal that includes, fields and facilities across the town, including the Fieldhouse. We reviewed the DoD Supplemental Impact Aid account. We discussed the priority CIPs that will be going to the town council. We tabled the OPEB projections because Milliman The town actuaries have not issued their report yet. Reviewed the latest insurance reserve data that we saw tonight. We discussed the 2020-2021 budget projections. And then we discussed the Groton Middle School construction funding and what that could be used for to add things to the Groton Middle School site. But obviously, we want to wait until the elementary schools are done, since that's apparently, that's all coming out of the same funding. So it was a slow night at Finance and Facilities.
Oh, Jay, okay. Any questions for the Finance and Facility Committee? Can I just say thank you to Lee, Jane, and Jay? That was a great report about what you guys talked about, and it was really informative and actually created dialogue. So I really appreciate that, and that. So thank you very much. That was actually very informative. I appreciate that. For those of us who can't make every meeting.
Liz actually did the minutes this month, and I think they were superb.
There she goes. All right.
Oh, Jay, thanks.
Just enough information without going overboard.
All right. Rita.
Hi, yes. Learn's superintendent perspective was the Montville superintendent, Lori Palin. She presented her district's goals and strategies for reimagining schools after COVID, rather than looking backwards to the way they were before at the status quo. I have a PowerPoint presentation. If anybody is interested, I could forward it on to you. One thing that I thought was extremely interesting was that the Marine Science Magnet School hosted a farmers market as part of a statewide initiative and greeted over 250 visitors to the school who purchased $6,000 worth of coral that they grew. Now, I really didn't realize that, coral, but it's amazing. It's very valuable. And so people came from all over, whether they had small aquarium tanks to very large aquariums, and purchased coral that the school had grown. And that money will go back to support their aquaculture program, as well as to provide some scholarships for super support in the future. See, I also thought it was interesting that all the rest directors, the 6 of them, asked their lobbyists to create a document of all education-related executive orders for distribution to our districts, which I can also pass on to anybody who's interested in that. The second floor, the Learn Building Committee for Ocean Avenue Learning Center is going along well. We have a $10,000 grant application that I think the state will approve, which is really nice. And, we talked a lot about how schools are returning. Learn's magnet schools returned March 15th to 4 days a week, and will eventually go to 5. So that's about it. And all the lotteries have all been done at all the schools. They've all been done. Actually, Marine Science does theirs in January, and the other ones have just wrapped up. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Any questions for Rita about the learning stuff? Jane's back. I don't know how to understand that.
Polly? Was that Polly? Oh, she's muted.
So we did meet with the town council, the RTM, and the Board of Ed. I actually think that the Board of Ed really had the majority of the conversation, in that we were had just finished our budget, and 2, we were talking about the reopening plan, and a lot of the questions were around that. Jay, we did begin some of the conversations about what apartments are located, and it's the same, the Susan is investigating it further with John Burt, but it was also the question about the projects that the town are directly involved. It's a 1-bedroom apartment, so they're less family friendly, if I can say that way, to kind of try to get in the sort of young sort of EB workers or the young Pfizer workers, et cetera. But we did ask that on behalf of you, because I know that that was an interest of yours, so that the board would make sure that we had that information. And I don't remember what else am I forgetting? I think that was, I really think that we were I think we had the heavy load, largely because of the reopening of the schools and people's interest in that. All right, and so I don't think we've met with the liaison since in between, have we?
I think we're meeting Wednesday.
Oh, is that when that is?
Yeah. I believe it's this Wednesday.
I think you're correct too.
Yeah,
Darn.
it's yeah. I'll look.
Nope, I think you're right. And then Groton Scholarship, Lee?
Yes, there is a subcommittee of the members who are now reading applications. I think that we are planning to meet at some point in April. Because it's my first year on the scholarship, I'm not sure if they bring all of the applications, or I don't really know yet, but I will be there when we have the meeting.
Thank you, Lee. I really appreciate that. And the athletic fields, I know that since our last meeting, we have had a presentation from the athletic field committee. Jay, do you have any new information about that since that presentation?
No, just that now they presented to town council, RTM, and the Board of Ed. They have a firm proposal that they're going to present to the town council and see, how they want to pursue it in terms of funding.
So there are 2 committees that it would be really cool if we had a board member, cool man, as a member of these 2 committees. It's the Trail Committee, and they have just met, so they actually won't meet until next month. And then also the Long-Term Recovery, which I believe was started last year through the town council to kind of take a look at how does the town move forward after the 2020. If anyone is interested on the board, it would be really swell for you to just send me an email, and I will then but introduce you to the people who are doing that. So those are 2 committees that probably could use some board participation. So I'm now going to be moving on to action items. One of the things before I start that is that I would like to be able to add a motion on the request of the superintendent, a motion to the agenda to set our graduation date, end of the school date and graduation date for the 2020. I just need to make sure that I have most of you would approve for me to add that to the thing, to our meeting. I'm getting most yeses from people. Oh, okay. All right, Dean,
Yes.
you okay with me moving that on?
Kim, you need a motion.
Yeah, you do need
Add
to.
it to the.
Oh, I need to have a motion to add a motion.
Yeah.
Yes, and we need 2/3 in agreement, at least 2/3.
See, Miss Joan, you just can't leave me. See how important you are in my life. All right, so I would take a motion to add the motion for the end of the school and graduation date.
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second to that?
Second.
Okay. Any
Second.
discussion? Thank you, Rosemary.
I'd like to just, I know I'm not a stickler on this, but technically what you're doing is you're adding an item to the agenda. That's what you require 2/3 of approval for.
Right.
Whether it's a motion or not is a separate question.
Okay. I knew there was a 2/3 about it. But But is there any other discussion? Thank you, Dean. And I appreciate your willingness to continue to have me learn.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that.
Oh, please do, because I have lots to learn. All right, if there's no other discussion, all those in favor of adding the motion to the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? The motion has carried. So we're now going to be moving on to the consent agenda, which is where all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Points of clarification will be allowed. So all those in favor, can I have a motion for the acceptance of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Can I have a second? I got Lee. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
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 Oppose, abstain, motion has carried. And the Board of Education would like to thank the Kiwanis Club of New London for making a donation of $500 to the Mary Morrison Elementary School. Lee, would you be willing to read the first motion, which is under old business, please?
I will indeed. A motion to approve policy 6142.102, social and emotional learning as a second reading.
All right, can I have a second to that, please? I've got Liz as a second. Discussion. We had a presentation in the Committee of the Whole last week. We've this policy has been before us for a long time. I appreciate the policy committee's patience with us in terms of needing to sometimes put that off to the side. If I don't hear any further discussion, all those in favor of the policy 6142.102, social emotional learning as a second reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain?
One abstention.
Motion has carried. Rita,
Yes.
would you be willing to read the motion under the new business number 1?
Yes.
Thank you.
To certify pursuant of CGS section 10-215F that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or by the non-school organization and groups.
Thank you, Rita. Can I have a second to that?
Second?
Thank you. So discussion.
Okay.
Ernie, would you like to kind of give some?
It's Liz.
Yes, Liz.
I'm sorry, but what's the bottom line in this? I'm
Well,
not quite.
If I can let Ernie,
Oh,
speak.
I'm sorry, Ernie.
Thank you.
Hi, board members. How are you? Great seeing everybody. So what this first part, what we're discussing is we want to continue with the healthy food certification for the school year 21-22. And the next one that you'll be reading involves the exemptions. But this first piece here makes us, which is a good thing, we want to keep this, that all the foods served are healthy, all natural. We don't use artificial sugars, colors, all that kind of stuff. This is very important. These are, we want to stay in the healthy food certification. There's very, very few districts in the state of Connecticut that don't abide by these strict standards. So this is something, and of course we've done it for the last 5-6 years as well. So that this is a good thing for the kids.
Thanks, Ernie.
You're welcome.
Is there any other comments or questions for
Yes,
Ernie?
yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yes, Dean.
Thanks. Yeah, there is. My main concern is not, how to make sure that junk food is sold, but I think of two types of offerings. One is the school offering itself, and the other is what may be offered through bake sales and things like that that we've allowed for eons. And I know that, and I think this is between this and the next motion, it probably all covers it, but I want to make sure that we are all on the same page because it refers to 10-215F and subsection B of that does say that a Board of Ed may exclude items that I've been talking about. Right. I was looking at the motion itself and the way it's worded, it almost seems like it's kind of ambiguous. When we say, this certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to, are we saying that those items in the last sentence are exempt or that they're included in other words, is the first motion the catch-all that says we're adopting this, no exceptions. And then the second motion is going to be, oh, and we're carving things out. Is that in fact what we're doing?
So Dean, great conversation. So what that does, it allows us to operate this program without, so here's the caveat of it all, really. We're trying to limit the amount of foods that are out of my control. If the middle schoolers want to do a fundraiser in the middle of breakfast or something at the school, this is the thing that we're saying, this is not allowed because it could contain an allergen or something that gets into schools that the kids are passing around. But this isn't really the caveat. This is just stating that we're going to follow Connecticut's high nutrition standards in all our cafeterias during the normal school day. And the next piece coming up, Dean, there'll be a piece in there that allows you guys to put in the exemptions so that fundraisers can continue, like at football games, after the school day, et cetera and stuff. So I know it's maybe a little confusing, this piece here, but this needs to be settled before you can move on to the exemptions, which we certainly want to have exemptions.
The reason why I'm asking this question is because I was under the impression that the statute is the statute and there was no need for us to actually adopt it, that the only action that we were allowed under subsection B was to make an exception for things like bake sales and whatnot. So I was confused as to why there were two separate motions.
Sure.
That's why I wanted to make sure we're all talking about the same thing. I'm pretty sure we are.
And the weird thing is this language, both of these pieces comes from the state. This is their language that they wanted you guys to actually vote on, their language. Can't explain that.
All right.
Go ahead, Dean.
I'm just gonna say thank you.
Nope, absolutely. I've learned a lot already, Dean, so I appreciate. I enjoy being challenged, so thank you. Any further discussion, Rosemary?
I just want to say thank you so much for all you do for our kids. You're the best, and our kids are going to be nutritiously sound because of it.
We think so too. Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Oh, it's already been seconded.
No, Rosemary's.
Yeah, and I'm third, and I'm echoing it also.
Oh, I'm on the business mode of motions, trying to stay on my game so I can, impress Dean. Any further discussion? I don't know, Dean, I'm making that up.
Okay.
All right. If I'm not hearing any, all those in favor of the motion that's on the floor to certify pursuant to CGS Section 10-25, 215, that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutritional standards during the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or by non-school organizations and groups. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Oppose? Abstain? That motion has carried. Liz, would you be willing to read the next one?
Absolutely. Motion to allow the sale to students, not of students, excuse me, to allow the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards and beverages not listed in section 10-221Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring at the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the food and beverage items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates are events, but soccer practices, play rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not. The regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food sales.
Can I have a second to that?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Rita. Discussion?
I would like to amend the motion to read, to allow the sale of to students of food and beverage items. And the reason why I'm making this is because the law distinguishes between food and beverage. I want to make sure we don't adopt something that just limits the exception to food.
No, but it says beverage items.
Well, and it says to allow the sale to students of food items. The rest of it refers to food and beverage. I want to make sure the language is clear.
So you're talking about in the very first sentence.
Exactly. I want to make sure we don't inadvertently adopt a policy or provision that just covers food, so that beverage, for some wacky reason, isn't
But it does,
covered.
on the second line, it says and beverages.
Yeah, right. Does not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards and beverages not listed in. Let me see. Hold on. Just hold on, son. I've been wrong.
We're on 2.
Yeah, no, I understand that. That do not meet. So in other words, it's just for my edification, food is covered by the nutrition standards, and beverages are not.
Beverages are.
Oh, they are. Okay. So why? I'm just wondering why it's broken out that way in that language. And you know what? I withdraw my motion.
Any further discussion?
We'll cross bridges when we get to them, I guess.
Okay, I am not going to reread that motion because Liz, you did it so well the first time. I did not need to be silly for the second time. So,
You did such a good job.
all those in
I was
favor of all those in favor of the motion that's on the floor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? The motion has carried. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Ernie.
Thank you.
Thank you always, Ernie.
We'll see you in 9 days.
Jay?
No snow.
Jay, would you be willing to read number 3, please?
I move to recognize April 7th, 2021 as Paraprofessional Appreciation Day and to direct the Superintendent of Schools to send a letter of appreciation to the paraprofessionals.
Second.
Second on that? I have Liz. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion that's on the floor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? That motion has carried.
And a big thank you to all the paraprofessionals.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Rosemary, would you be willing to read the motion for number 4, please?
I'd be honored.
Thank you.
The motion is to recognize April 21st, 2021 as Administrative Professionals Day and to direct the Superintendent of Schools to send a letter of appreciation to the administrative professionals.
Can I have a second on that?
Second?
That was Lee.
Yep, I got it. Sorry. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion that's on the floor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? That motion has carried.
Kim, before we go to the next part, can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
When is Teacher Appreciation Day? Is that May? May? Okay.
And
I think that's when we do our sort of large celebration of our teachers and friends of schools and stuff.
It's in May.
Yep.
I think Teacher Appreciation Day is the day before school begins when the kids are thinking, I can't wait to get back. I'm so bored.
All right. As we have voted on beforehand, to add this motion, I will read this and then second it, then we can go into discussion. So the motion on the floor, and the motion I'm proposing is to revise the 2020 to 2021 school calendar to represent the last day of school as June 17th, 2021, and to set the graduation date as June 18th, 2021. Can I have a second to that?
Second.
I got Lee. Can we have discussion? And Susan, can you please talk this through for us?
I'd be happy to. I think we're hearing from our seniors and our parents that, it's time to set that date. And I'm feeling pretty positive that, we won't need another snow day, so we can end the year on the 17th. And that was kind of what we were talking about earlier in the year, that looked like the 18th was going to be a good date. So I think we can say with confidence that that's going to be the date for graduation.
So this is not a new date necessarily. This is the one that we had sort of been thinking about, but had not voted.
Yeah.
Okay.
We usually give an extra week from when we're supposed to end, knowing that we're going to get some snowstorms and other things. So that was kind of our original thoughts in the beginning.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Jay.
Yeah, we just didn't have it on the calendar this year. It says that we'd vote on it later. I think this is the first year we did that. But my question is, I know there was a change in the law, Susan, that if boards of ed vote after a certain date, that even if there are snow days, that the graduation date is set in stone.
Right.
Is that law still in effect? And are we within that?
Yes, we're within our ability to do that.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion that's on the floor, which is to set our last date to be June 17th and our graduation date, June 18th, all signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? That motion has carried. Thank you very much, guys. That was that's good for our senior class. They'll be happy to know that. So letters of communication. Rita.
Yes, my communications have been mostly about the schools reopening for 4 days a week, and questions about why is it May 3rd that they won't be 5 full days, it'll be 4.5. And I think the high school was going like 7 in the morning or 7:30 to 10:30. It was a very short time period. It's only 3 hours. I know that that was changed by the governor. I didn't know if that's still in effect, the 3 hours, but it just seems like such a short amount of time. And that was the questions they had, and that's mostly for the superintendent to answer. That's all.
Would you like me to?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay. Well, one of the things that we're doing a little bit differently is that we don't have subs teaching students remotely, that we really thought it was important for the kids to have the teachers that they started the school year with. And frankly, I don't know how other districts have found highly qualified, certified chemistry and physics and English language arts teachers to teach their remote kids. I'd really rather have our students have those highly qualified teachers that are theirs already. So it still takes a lot of work, and that Wednesday afternoon has been really essential in helping us to make sure that those lessons are planned and the LMS system is working and that they have everything they need and some time to be able to meet with remote kids too. So the morning will be really for all of them. And that will be a morning that has a lot of different opportunities. One of the things you heard Tom talk about was the assessment. So bringing our kids in the morning and doing some of those assessments that are needed. And in the afternoon, if the students who are remote learners can't, come in the morning, they're concerned about health and safety, then we'll have time in the afternoon to also support them. The other thing that principals have brought up is that whole re-engagement and how can we do some more spirit-like activities. Maybe there's end-year field trips that are happening. Maybe there's performances that we're preparing for. So being able to use Wednesday, not only for assessment, for some other really engaging opportunities that will be fun and enjoyable. So there's only 5 of those days, those Wednesdays. It's not a whole lot of time. But, I think it's valuable time, and, we really needed to do that just to make sure that we could cover our bases and handle teaching the kids, mostly the kids in front of us, but there are still a number of kids who will be remote.
Do you have any idea about how many? I mean, I noticed about 90% are coming back.
I can put that in my board notes.
That would be great. I would prefer that.
Thank you.
I'll chart it out so you can kind of see the differences elementary, middle school, and high school.
Thank you. Dean.
Oh, same sorts of messages from people wondering, why things are the way they are. But, it's occurred to me that as much as I would prefer to see 5 days of instruction, however it's done, I also understand that teacher prep takes forever. If you're a mature teacher, you figured out how to do it without, running around 24/7. Especially for some new teachers, it is very, very time consuming. And I do understand if you've got to teach sort of both ways, it probably adds some overhead.
Yes.
And so I think it seems to me that the Wednesday was sort of sacrificed, or at least part of Wednesday was sacrificed for that. I do have a question. Part of Wednesday is also for teachers to connect with students who may have questions or need some help, et cetera. Are we finding that because of the remote method, that more students are coming forward and talking to teachers than they would otherwise in a typical normal physical setting, where they'd say, well, maybe I'll stay, I won't miss my bus, I'll talk tomorrow, and they never really do? Are more students connecting with teachers this way?
I have heard that, Dean, that sometimes students who would be a little more reluctant, if they were person to person, are feeling a little more confident by either doing, the Remind app or in the LMS, and then actually talking to the teacher or even Zooming in. you know, one-on-one. So I have heard some good news, but there have been other students that haven't necessarily picked up the phone or haven't reached out, and teachers have had to reach out to them.
Right.
Which
So
is
it
what
sounds,
the
it
whole
just sounds,
idea was.
yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like it's time consuming. So where do you find the hours?
Right. It does take time. And so that's part of this, you know. But we are really looking forward to having the majority of our kids back. And I think that's going to make a huge difference. But we can't neglect our students who are remote either.
It's an
So,
unfortunate sacrifice.
no. So,
Lee, do you have anything? You are muted. No.
So sorry. Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Nothing in particular.
But thank you for supporting the people doing their boxes for the food thing. That was awful kind of you. Thank you.
Actually, I'm doing some tomorrow too for the city. Yeah. Anyone who needs food. Tomorrow, I can't remember the dates, but we're doing it at St. John's.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you.
Glad to do it.
Rosemary?
I've received similar letters about just wondering about what the future holds. I have also attended some gas meetings. We are looking for more members, and we'd love to get some parents involved if you can spread the word. And GASP also has some interesting things going on for students to participate in, so it's a nice connection. And I've let Carolyn know that we are interested. And I want to thank people who showed an interest in the Sound Community Services diaper drive, because we have a lot of young parents.
Thank you, Rosemary.
So thank you.
Thank you. Liz?
I've had a couple of people contact me about why we're not going 5 days. So I just wanted, they want an explanation, and I give them an explanation. I have encountered kind of a mixed bag of people who are happy that the kids are going back, and others who are angry. So it's just the time, it's just the situation. So just working hard to allay fears and to support people's decisions.
and I would encourage families to look on our website, because we keep communicating and adding information. So most up-to-date information. Rebecca's done a lovely job, making sure it's all up there, and,
Absolutely.
to help parents.
And also with to connect on with Lee, tomorrow a Fitch graduate is coming to that St. John's food drive, and she's driving the Nutmobile from Planters Company, and Mr. Peanut is showing up.
Oh,
So,
where?
so I was able to get, she used to be my neighbor. She almost was a Fitch grad. She had to leave her mom and dad. They left this area in her senior year, which was very devastating to her. But she's really bounced back. She graduated from the University of Indiana, and this is her job. And she's been traveling around the country on the Nutmobile. And so if you're by St. John's tomorrow about 3:30, look for Mr. Peanut.
What's her name?
Her name is Grace Noyce.
I will look for her.
Okay, well, I'm going to be down there too, but I just.
Okay. Jay, try to follow that up.
Oh, boy. So in addition to all the emails that the rest of you got, I did get a question about the graduation date. And so tonight's vote was very timely so that they can make their plans. And we're looking forward, to an in-person graduation. Fingers crossed. I'm not guaranteeing that. And then I was remiss by starting the meeting late. I was remiss in not recognizing, and maybe Liz did, but recognizing Carmita Hodge as having reinstituted our participation in the Connecticut History Day, which I understand is the first time since Mrs. Porter was at the high school. So I'm glad to see that tradition start it again.
Andrea.
On Saturday, I had the pleasure of going to a virtual conference at the University of Connecticut, headed and facilitated by Kiana Foster Moore, who is a graduate of Fitch High School and also a Martin Luther King Scholar. And it was a national multicultural education conference. And it was just superbly done. And in conjunction with our own diversity, equity, and inclusion committee, I'm going to be meeting with Kiana to see how we can diversify, attract, and actually bring to Groton a more diverse face to our faculty, so that our faculty and our entire community reflect each other. And I wanted to point out too that Kiana has presented nationally and at the Harvard School of Education.
Very nice.
How cool is that? Jane.
What I have noticed is that there is a great relief with people having been vaccinated. Teachers are far more comfortable with getting up and going to school every day, and very grateful for everyone being well.
Thank you, Jane.
It's huge. It's a huge move forward.
It does feel big, does it not? So I have the series of emails that most people had spoken to. I did receive a text from the mayor of the town, Patrice, who someone had sent her a graph that actually the COVID numbers last week had increased in Groton. Just that my sense is that that's what's going to happen, but that she just wanted to make sure that we were aware of that. But I'm just really excited about hearing about people who've attended our schools or have graduated from our schools and going off and doing great things. And that's a great way to end our time together tonight. But I want to make sure that, yes.
Before you end, can I just say one thing about Susan? Mrs. Austin had done an interview for Welcome to Groton program, and it was excellent. It's about the Groton Public Schools, and she really did a fantastic job. So anyone who can tune in, it's right on YouTube or on the local channel. Sean at the library filmed it, and it's just excellent. So thank you, Susan.
Well, thank you. I wish it could have been in person. It was on a Zoom, but I was happy to answer their questions.
Yeah, it was very well done. Thank you.
Thank you for making sure that we talked about it. So the last part of the page is our dates. Susan, when is the school on break?
The school is on break from about the 10th. I don't have my calendar in front of me. So we have Good Friday on the 2nd, which will be a day off from school. We come back the next week, and then we have the week off after that. And I'm just looking, but I feel like the 10th is a Saturday, so throughout that next week.
Okay, so the 12th, we have a committee of the whole meeting, and we typically do not meet as a board. So Joan, I'm wondering if you can make that correction, but that we will be down one committee of the whole meeting, and Susan and I will plan accordingly to that.
We typically do the policy and finance on the 5th, and we can do maybe the curriculum on the 19th before the COW. So we'll get the other meetings in.
Yeah, so you and Jane can
Yeah.
work on that. That'd be great. And then also on the last page, there is the other meeting dates. And Ms. Joan, I'm just wondering if we could make sure that we get on the RTM, if the RTM has done their schedule in terms of, do they do a public hearing? I can never. Jean, do you remember?
Yes.
Yes.
RTM do a public hearing too?
Yes.
Yeah, don't we?
So many public hearings, so little time. All right, so
We
that
have a slideshow, not to worry.
So that needs to go on our advance for our town stuff. And also what's not on here is the Board of Ed's portion of the town meeting or the town budget is not on here as well.
Is that different than March 29th?
Yes.
That
That is
March
Oh.
29th.
Oh, see, I'm just quickly moving through the March. Okay. So thank you, Rita. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I thought we were meeting the 25th.
That is the public hearing, and that is
Okay.
when we're doing the presentation, but the 29th is when the town council goes into our budget. It's always good to have some of our board members present for that.
And they'll be sending us a link to that. It'll be their meeting.
It'll be their meeting.
And they'll send us a link.
I don't know how that's going to happen. Maybe Susan and I need to investigate that.
I'll have Joyce reach out tomorrow.
So we'll have Joyce will tell us.
Kim, are we going to get a link for the 25th?
Joyce is looking into that, and we will know by the 25th.
Okay.
Absolutely. Agenda topics.
What we're doing for the summer, which I think is already on our COW. You know, how we're going to do credit recovery and how we're going to get our students that have fallen behind a little bit back up to speed.
And camps to re-engage them.
Yeah.
And camps.
Yeah.
Exciting camps with great
exciting, fun, STEAM, STEM, literacy.
Yeah. And then, you know, we're just so grateful that we have the funds to be able to do this from the federal government, and the state.
And I have to say that I was given the heads up from CAPS that they have these ESSER consultants, because the number that we were given for the third ESSER is quite large, 7 million, and they can advise us and work with our committee. So I will probably ask a couple board members to join me and some teachers across the district, because this is such a big deal. It used to be that Mike and I would kind of figure this out with the principals and with central office, but I think this is so big that we should include a few of you and present it to you once we've done it. But to have an ESSER consultant or someone through CAPS that can help us and tell us what is doable and versus, you know, what's not doable is a really good idea. So Fran Rabinowitz had reached out to me. So I said, yes, count me in.
That's a great idea, Susan.
Just talk about what that acronym stands for people who may not know.
So the ESSER funds are really named the CARES Act. So we had a CARES Act one or the ESSER one, and it's an education relief. I don't have all the, you know, the words for it, but we've known it as the CARES Act. And we've had 1, 2, and now 3 is coming.
Okay. Other agenda topics? So Andrea, I don't know if you're leaning forward because you have an agenda topic or whether you're doing something. Rita.
There is.
I'm just waiting.
Wait, Andrea, just take a second. I would like to hear from maybe guidance at the high school to see how our seniors are doing with their acceptances at colleges and what they're going to be doing in the future. It'd be nice to have a report, because it must be very difficult this year for the students with college acceptances, and you know how they're planning their future, those that are graduating. I don't know if the guidance counselor or if one of the vice principals would like to report on that sometime to the board. Thank you.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea.
Any other future agenda topics?
Could you just check, Kim, for me on the 29th? What meeting do we have? I have the 25th, but I don't have
So
enough.
the 25th is going to be the public hearing for the town council.
Yep.
And with that, Susan and I will do a presentation about our budget that we have voted on. And the 29th is when the town council talks about the Board of Education budget.
Okay, thanks.
That's what that is.
I sent all board members, I think I sent the presentation twice to you by accident, but you have it.
You did, thank you.
Board notes too.
You did.
Any other future topics?
Motion to adjourn.
Well
Say
done.
good night,
A
Gracie.
second.
Good night.
Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Rita. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The motion has carried. You guys, nice work, nice work, nice work.
Yes, thank you.
So,
Night, everyone.
Have a good evening.
Night.
and I'll see you soon.